Hey everyone. My name is Samantha. I'm 21 now, but this happened to me 10 years ago, when I was just 11 years old and my little brother Jacob was 9. I've never told this story publicly before. Only close friends and family have heard it. But with how clear it still is in my memory, I think it's time. Back then, we lived in a small suburban neighborhood in California. It was the kind of place where everyone knew each other, and parents felt safe letting their kids play outside until dark. My mom worked as a nurse, mostly night shifts, and my dad owned a small but growing landscaping business. That summer, he had just hired a few new crews and was working long hours, so we were spending a lot of time with our neighbors, especially when there were cookouts or community events. This happened one Saturday evening in late June. One of the families down the street was throwing a neighborhood barbecue, burgers, music, kids running around, water balloons, all that. It was around 7:30 p.m., and the sun was just starting to go down. The backyard was full of families, and Jacob and I were hanging out near the front yard with a few other kids, tossing a football around. That's when we noticed it. An old-fashioned ice cream truck, white and faded with peeling red and blue paint, just sitting a few houses down. The kind with a janky loudspeaker on top. But the thing was, it wasn't playing any music. It wasn't even moving. It was just idling, engine running, headlights off. Weird, but not exactly terrifying at first. I pointed it out to Jacob. He saw it too and waved, joking that maybe it was waiting to surprise us with free ice cream. We both laughed. But after 10 minutes, it was still there. Not a single kid ran up to it. No music. No driver visible. Just that quiet, constant hum of the engine. Jacob and I were starting to get creeped out, so we went back to the backyard where the party was happening. A few minutes later, my older cousin Melanie, she was 16 at the time, came into the yard looking kind of shaken. Her face was pale, and she walked straight to my mom and whispered something to her. My mom's expression changed instantly, and she walked quickly inside the house with Melanie. A few parents started murmuring and looking toward the street. That's when word spread. Melanie had gone to the ice cream truck to get something, thinking it was legit. But when she walked up and asked what flavors they had, the man inside said nothing about ice cream. According to her, he just stared at her for a second, then leaned out and asked her if she wanted a ride instead. She tried to play it off and backed away, but before she could turn around, he reached out and grabbed her wrist. She managed to pull away and ran straight back to the house. As people started walking toward the front yard, trying to see what was going on, the truck finally pulled away slowly, like it wasn't even in a hurry. A few dads tried to follow it on foot, but it turned down the next street and disappeared. The police were called. They came, took Melanie's statement, and drove around the area, but they never found the truck. It was like it vanished. That should have been the end of it. But here's where it gets worse. Later that night, around 11 p.m., I was lying in bed with my window cracked open just a bit. Something I always did during summer because the breeze helped me sleep. I was almost asleep when I heard the faintest sound. The hum of an engine. Then, a familiar jingle. It was soft at first, but unmistakable. The ice cream truck song. That eerie, tinny melody. I got up and looked out the window. The truck was back. It was parked across the street. Completely dark except for the running lights under the bumper. Just sitting there. I could see the silhouette of the driver. He was facing the house. I ducked. I was terrified. I went to Jacob's room, and he was already awake, standing at his window. "You hear that too?" he whispered. We didn't say another word. I woke up my mom, and by the time she got to the window, the truck was already pulling off again, slow as ever. The police came back, but there was no trace. No plate number, no matching description in any nearby registry. After that, my parents installed a home security system. We weren't allowed outside alone for the rest of the summer. Years later, my mom told me something she hadn't shared back then. Apparently, the cops told her off record that a similar ice cream truck had been spotted in a few other towns that month. Always parked late at night, no music until someone noticed it, and in 2 cases, children had gone missing after approaching it. They never found the guy. It still makes me sick to think how easily it could have been me or Jacob. Or Melanie. We never saw the truck again after that summer. But every time I hear an ice cream truck, I get a weird feeling in my stomach. Like something's watching.
Hello, my name is Kevin. I'm 19 now, but this story happened when I was 12, so about 7 years ago. We lived in a quiet little suburb in Oregon, the kind of place where everyone had tidy lawns, neighborhood watch signs, and the same mailman for 15 years. My mom worked from home doing freelance design, and my dad ran a small construction business, so he was usually gone during the day. This happened during the summer when school was out, and kids were everywhere, riding bikes, setting up lemonade stands, running through sprinklers. And of course, every kid's favorite part of summer, the ice cream truck. Our neighborhood had a guy everyone just called Tony the Ice Cream Man. He was always smiling, always cracking jokes. Everyone knew him. Parents waved at him. Kids ran to him. His truck was one of those old school ones with the faded cartoon decals and a jingly song that echoed down the street like a Pavlovian bell for popsicles. I never liked him. Even as a kid, I had this feeling. My parents had always told me to be careful around adults I didn't know well, especially grown-ups who seemed too friendly. And Tony? He was too friendly. Like, he'd try to high-five kids he didn't know, lean down too close when talking, call everyone buddy or princess. But the weird part didn't start until mid-July. I was at the park near our house with a few kids from the block. Tony's truck rolled up to the curb like it always did. Kids ran over with their crumpled dollar bills. I stayed back. I just didn't trust the guy. That's when I noticed something that made my stomach twist. He had a phone in his hand. Not out and obvious, but tucked halfway behind his tray, pointed outward. And whenever a kid stepped up to the counter, he would tilt it, subtly, and snap a photo. I saw the flash once when a girl stepped away. He quickly tapped the screen and pretended to scratch his nose. I watched him do it 4 times. He'd wait until the parents were turned around or talking, then quickly snap a picture and slide the phone back down. I didn't say anything at first. I was scared no one would believe me. But later that evening, I told my mom. She didn't freak out, but I could tell by the way her face changed that she was taking it seriously. The next day, she called the non-emergency police line and told them what I saw. I didn't think anything would come of it. But I was very wrong. 2 officers came by our house that night. They asked to speak with me directly. I told them everything I remembered. One of the officers, an older guy with tired eyes, asked me to describe the ice cream truck and then, very specifically, to describe Tony. He was silent for a moment afterward, then said something that I'll never forget. "That's impossible," he said quietly. "That man was fired 3 years ago." Apparently, the real Tony had been let go by the city's vendor contract after a few complaints were filed against him, creepy behavior, unprofessional conduct, that sort of thing. Nothing that could hold up in court. But enough to get him banned from working the route. Only thing was, no one told the neighborhood. And somehow, the guy kept showing up. With a truck that looked like the old one. With a fake vendor logo. Pretending to still be employed. The company had assumed he moved on. But he didn't. Police acted fast. They sent patrols the next day to try to catch him. Sure enough, around 2 p.m., the fake Tony rolled up on a side street. The moment he saw the squad car parked at the end of the block, he took off. A short chase followed, but he got cornered 2 neighborhoods over. Inside the truck, police found hundreds of photos. Kids at parks, kids buying ice cream, kids playing in yards. Not one picture was inappropriate, technically, but it was clear what his intent was. They also found multiple outdated uniforms and vendor badges, all fake, and 1 box with leftover name tags from different companies. No one knows what his ultimate plan was. The police never released his full name. We just knew him as Tony, the guy who used to smile too much and knew all the kids' names. After that, the city put out stricter licensing for all mobile vendors. But the truck never came back. To this day I hope that guy is still in prison, and to never leave, one guy I hope to never meet again. My name's Jake, I'm 17 now, but this happened 2 summers ago when I was 15. I live in a small suburb outside of Sacramento, California. You know the kind, quiet, sunny, too clean to ever seem threatening. I live with my mom and little sister, and most people on our street know each other. That's why what happened still messes with me. Because no one knew this guy. It started off normally. One July afternoon, around 3 p.m., we heard the familiar jingle of the ice cream truck coming down the road. You know the one, kind of distorted, off-pitch like it was playing from an old music box that hadn't been cleaned in years. My sister ran out with a few bucks, and I followed just to keep an eye on her. That's when I saw the driver. Middle-aged guy, pale, kind of sweaty, sunglasses too big for his face, and he never smiled. Not once. Just stared. He handed my sister the cone and then looked at me for way too long. I nodded awkwardly, and we went back inside. The next day, same time, same truck. My sister begged to go again. I let her. But this time, I watched from the front window. The guy leaned down and said something to her. I couldn't hear what. When she came back, I asked what he said. He asked if I wanted to see the inside of the truck, she said. I asked if she went. She shook her head. No. He just kept staring. He's weird. I told my mom, but she brushed it off. Probably just being friendly, she said. But that didn't sit right with me. The next day, I stayed outside. He came again. My sister didn't go out. But he stopped anyway. Right in front of our house. Sat there for a full minute, engine humming, music still playing that creepy jingle on a loop. Then he drove off. The next week, he showed up every single day, 3 p.m. sharp, but he never served any kids. He just parked in front of our house. Sometimes for a few minutes. Once, for almost 10. He never looked at anyone else. Just our house. My mom finally noticed and told me not to worry. But she started locking the doors early after that. One night, around 2 a.m., I got up to use the bathroom. On my way back to bed, I looked out the front window just by instinct. The ice cream truck was parked right across the street. No music. Just parked there, engine off, under the streetlight. Like it was waiting. I stared at it for a long time. I thought I saw a silhouette in the driver's seat. Just sitting motionless. Watching. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, it was gone. The final straw came a few days later. My mom had to work late, so it was just me and my sister. I was in the kitchen when I heard that damn jingle again. My stomach dropped. I ran to the window. He wasn't in the street anymore. He had pulled into our driveway. I opened the front door just a crack and yelled, "Leave. You're not welcome here." He didn't say anything. He just stared, expressionless, and slowly backed the truck out of our driveway. It was the last time we saw him. I did a police report about it, but the police couldn't do anything but write it down. So weird guy from the ice cream truck, let's not meet again.